It worked perfectly this time. Oh, I'll have to mute the Discord though. Okay, we are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Demon Appreciation Podcast, episode 6. And joining me today is none other than King Narukami. How are you, sir?
How you doing, David? Thanks for having me on today.
I am doing great. Thank you for being here, man. As you guys can see with the title, we are doing today, of course, a next-gen special. Next-gen special because, of course, the Xbox came out yesterday and the PlayStation 5 is coming out tomorrow. So I think now's the right time. Just before I start, I want to let you guys know how we're going to do this. Basically, I have a bunch of questions in regards, of course, to both systems that are coming out this week, so PlayStation 5 and Xbox. We're going to tell you in a few seconds what we bought or how we're jumping into next gen, so you know where we're at. And I also have a bunch of unrelated and Atlas questions, of course, for everyone who's here. So a quick shout out before we start the stream. Thank you everyone who's here already. We already have 10 people watching. That's amazing. Thank you guys so much. So what's up, Squidifer? Thanks for being here. Saltendo as well, always here. Thank you, man. Really do appreciate it. Demicro is also here, man. What's up? Thank you for being here, man. Katana Riku, the homie, is here as well. Welcome, sir. Spacel, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. And of course, Kuro's here as well. We have friends in the chat as well. What's up, guys? Thank you all for being here.
Shout out to Squidifer in the chat, staying up till 2 a.m. to listen to this too.
Damn, bro. We're having some real cool support here. Thank you all for being here. Honestly, that's amazing. Just before we start, dude, I want to know, and we all want to know, how did you jump into next gen? Or how are you jumping into next gen? Did you pre-order anything? How did it happen? Let us know.
All right, perfect. So I do have a PS5 on pre-order, and I actually have a funny story to tell about that. So I was getting off of work one day. I think it was, I'm not sure when the state of play or whatever it was when they actually introduced the PS5 and, you know, the price and everything. They revealed the price at the end of the video. And I was on my way home. I commute from work. So I was on my way home from work, and I told my girlfriend, if you see it go up anywhere, I will literally pull over on the side of the road, get out my wallet, and order it and go on. So what happened was I was picking up dinner for my roommates at Taco Bell, and I get a call from my girlfriend as I'm about to receive the food, and she's telling me, "Oh my gosh, Derek, it's urgent. Something's going on." I'm like, "Hold on, I got food in my hand. I'll give you a call back." So I clicked end, and I called her back as soon as I got my food. And she screamed at me that the PS5 is at stock in GameStop.
Oh.
And, you know, during the event, they told us that pre-orders wouldn't be available till, like, the next day.
Yep.
So I was lucky enough to be within 3 minutes of the GameStop when she called me. So I quickly called them, and they did the usual, you know, thank you for calling GameStop, where you can pre-order the PS5. And I stopped them right there. I said, hold on, I'll be right there in a second. And I just sped off, man. I sped off. I literally ran into the store. There were people already in there to pre-order.
I bet. Oh, wow. Amazing. And you got one.
I got one. I got the physical, the disc version. So I did not get the digital.
Oh, okay. You got the right version, basically.
The only one that matters, really.
Yeah, basically. Awesome. For those of you who don't know, I know that I told this story before. Mine is a bit different, definitely less interesting and a bit more sad, to be honest. But I pre-ordered on the same exact day as you, so we have a similar story actually. Like, we streamed the showcase actually on the channel. It was great, lots of fun, bunch of cool announcement. I was excited, Final Fantasy 16 and stuff like that, so I was hyped. Was watching the websites while listening to some YouTube videos, and it went up. Pre-ordered it pretty easily actually, and yeah, it was cool. I was happy. But then a month later, there was an issue with my cat, and he had to go to the vet, and he's fine now, by the way. So he had to go to the vet, but here in Canada, I don't know if that's the same thing for you in the US, but every single time that you get in the vet, it always is extremely expensive. So it was no different. It was extremely expensive, $800 to be precise. So I was like, yep, there goes my PS5 pre-order. But that was in October, and of course now everything is fine with finances. I don't have my pre-order anymore. I tried to get it back from Best Buy, but the customer service were like, nope, you idiot, you canceled it, so too bad. Which is understandable. I know that I'm the problem. I'm the one who canceled it and all, but yeah, so this is where I'm at right now. But the thing that most of you guys don't know, because I didn't like tweet it or anything like that, is that I got an Xbox Series X yesterday. So that's news, and I'm super happy. I've been talking about getting an Xbox for a while now. It was fairly easy to get one on a Tuesday. I was just, spam refreshing every site until I was able to get one, and it worked. I got one. It sold out in 3 minutes at Walmart where I bought it. But hey, at least I have one, and my plans for tomorrow are to definitely refresh every single time, because I also do plan on buying a PS5 if possible. So yeah.
And some things are more important than getting that PS5. I think you were fine canceling that pre-order the first time. Some things are more important, but it's going to be really hard tomorrow. I feel like there's a lot more hype. I know we'll probably get into it later, but I feel like there's a lot more hype behind the PS5 and this is not me being a Sony fanboy. If Xbox released the right games and stuff that I'm interested, I would totally get an Xbox. But I think there's more hype for the PS5 right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we were talking about that in our call before actually we started to stream, and yeah, I feel like there's more hype surrounding PS5, and I mean, let's be honest here, the reason is simple. There's launch titles, and there's none for Xbox that you can't get elsewhere, so that's the reason why. I feel like, personally for me, the biggest thing about the Xbox is, yes, it's the powerful console, but other than that, the backwards compatibility for me is like a massive bonus. I'm super hyped about that. I can't wait to play like Forza and Fable and games like that with the amazing quality. So yeah, I can't wait to get it as well. But definitely the PS5 for the launch titles and stuff is going to be really interesting.
I think what really killed the hype for the Xbox was when they at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what really killed the hype for it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bet. Unfortunately, yeah, the people were hyped, for Halo. It's definitely a big title that we must not underestimate. So the fact that it was delayed, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a deal breaker for most people. Speaking of Halo, like I don't think we have a date for Halo. Like, did they confirm 2021 or they don't even have a date anymore?
If I'm not mistaken, I think they did say 2021. I could be wrong though. Okay. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. I'm not the biggest Halo guy, so it feels weird from someone who just pre-ordered a $600 Xbox. But yeah, there's other titles that I want to play, but we'll get into that. I want to let you guys know how we're going to do this. So I have lots of questions on regards to the PS5, also questions for Xbox Series, and random questions as well. And you guys gave us questions in the Discord server and also on Twitter, so we're definitely going to go over that. And in the chat, as always, during the podcast, you can always give us your questions whenever you want, and we'll try to answer as many of them as possible.
Looks like Riku in the chat is Xbox guy right here. He says Xbox hype. So I wonder if Riku got one.
I don't think he got one actually, but maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he wants to get one because he's a big Phantasy Star Online guy. So that's probably the game for him that he wants to get. And I've been watching his videos on the games, and yeah, it looks really cool. I think I might want to try this one out at some point. Because
Phantasy Star Online had a PlayStation 5. I mean, Persona 5 DLC, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think I saw that as well somewhere. But again, not the biggest Phantasy Star fan for now, at least. So I'm not too sure. I want to ask you a few questions. So yeah, you confirmed that you're getting your PS5, and are you supposed to get it tomorrow? I think you're supposed to get it tomorrow, right?
Yep, tomorrow. So the thing is, I'm not sure if it's the same in Canada, but so they're only doing online-only sales for tomorrow. The only way you can physically get your PS5 in store tomorrow is if you've already pre-ordered it at a retailer.
Yep, it's basically the same thing for us.
Gotcha.
So it's like, yeah, you have to have an appointment. Get your. So you have an appointment for tomorrow to pick up your console, or?
Weird thing. I called GameStop and I asked them, do I need to set up an appointment? And they acted like I was stupid. And they're like, "What appointment? This isn't the dentist." So I'm like, well, okay, I'll just come when I come. So just going to pick it up after work tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's classic GameStop comes customer service here. Squiddifer, you gotta go. Well, thanks for being here. You can always watch the playback if you're interested in hearing us talking about next gen. It's going to be up tomorrow, so thanks for tuning in, dude. It's 2 a.m., so it's understandable.
Some sleep.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you're getting your console tomorrow. Now, which game did you buy with it? If you did buy some games.
I've already got some games pre-ordered. I'm getting Miles Morales tomorrow.
Nice.
Obviously, I have Yakuza, but that won't be. I have Like a Dragon, but that won't be an official PS5 game until March because of I think it's contract exclusivity that Microsoft has with them.
Absolutely, it's a March title, I think.
I have NBA 2K21. That's going to be a upgrade for me as well, and. Other than that, I have some other games coming. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm going to get a Black Ops this Friday. So
okay, so you bought a few games actually. Cool. So definitely you'll be able to experience like what the console has to offer. I heard like Call of Duty is like big, massive file size. Did you hear about that?
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that at all. It's probably going to take like a third of the SSD. So. See, this is why, if you don't mind me ranting for a second, David.
No problem.
So this SSD is like 600 gigs or something along those lines. It's less than 700 gigs of space that you can use.
Yeah.
And the fact that Microsoft is allowing you to store Series X games on an external hard drive, obviously they can't run on there, but you could store them on there and copy them over to your SSD to play them. Sony has yet to include that for the PS5. You cannot store PS5 games on an external hard drive and just copy it over when you want to. So I think that's kind of ridiculous for a console that's under 700 gigabytes.
Are they going to add support at some point, though? Is that feasible?
I mean, I would hope so. I think that they said that they were talking about it at some point, but nothing's confirmed.
Nothing's confirmed. I hope they do because games are big nowadays, so I feel like it's a necessity. They should definitely be able to. They should definitely have that feature in because, man, when you're buying like a game and it's like 200
it's insane,
gigabytes,
man.
It's crazy. Like it's already a third of your storage initially, so if you can't expand it, that's a problem.
I mean, this wouldn't be a big issue if SSDs were already, a 2 terabyte SSD was half the price of a console. So if it was cheaper, like I got a 4 terabyte external hard drive for $89 the other week. That's where I'm
cheap.
Yeah,
that's cheap. And the Xbox has one, but it's like a 1 terabyte, and it's very expensive. I think it's like $180, something like that.
To me, it's not worth all that money.
Definitely
you're already spending $400, $500 on the console.
Yeah, exactly. And like when you're buying just the digital, is the digital bigger, the storage?
I'm not one. I don't believe so. No.
So I mean, when you must have digital games, it is a problem. It is a problem, like a big deal.
Hey, even when you have disc games, I mean, discs also have to install directly onto a hard drive or SSD. So that's taking up space in and of itself. The only difference is that you don't have to re-download it, but it still takes time to install and everything.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely a problem with the recent games. I mean, I hope they figure this out at some point. Maybe the developers should try to, focus their development on making the game as optimized as possible so we don't have to download 200 gigabytes install when you buy a brand new game. It's problematic, and it's definitely one of the complaints that I had with this gen, and it's not going anywhere, unfortunately. That's what I love about my Switch. Like, it's 32 gigabytes, and I've never had any type of issues. Everything is stored on my cartridges.
Oh yeah, man! I love the Switch, and micro SD cards. If you do need more storage, is really cheap.
Yep.
So,
No, that's definitely a big plus for me. So, well, we'll see where they're going with it. But hey, it's something
while
to
we're on
watch
the
out for.
subject of storage, by the way, you were saying that games are getting bigger and everything. The other day when I installed an NBA 2K, I don't really play NBA 2K that much, but I figured I'd get it to show off the PS5. When I installed it onto my PS4 the other day, there was a 65 gigabyte patch. I had the disc. I installed the disc, and there was a 65 gigabyte patch just to play.
Patch. That's crazy.
Like, what are you adding?
Yeah, basically, like your game's not ready. If I have to install, I'm sorry, but if I have to install 65 gigabytes in a day one patch, like your game's not ready. Your game's not ready. But that's my opinion. I just think it's weird. Day one patches in general, like when it's random bugs that they didn't figure out before, it's all right. I'm not gonna complain. But when it's something like this, it's ridiculous.
Well, when it's just like a few megabytes or maybe, a gig patch, that's one thing. But when you go 10 plus gigs, I mean, that's a little ridiculous. Obviously, you weren't ready to ship the game day one. So.
Exactly. That's something else. That's a different thing.
No offense to 13 Sentinels at all, because they had to patch in the English
the voice acting,
audio track. Yeah.
Yeah, and the voice acting in this game is amazing, and as well, so that's cool. But we won't get into that though. Now you're buying a few games. Which game are you gonna play first?
Oh man, so I've got Friday off, and I'm planning on beating Miles Morales the same day because I heard it's only going to be like 8 hours for the main story. So hitting that, then going back to Yakuza.
Then going back to Yakuza. Where are you at in Yakuza? Are you far in?
It's sad because I got around 2 hours in last night, and then something just said to me this morning, this doesn't seem right. The dub's great, don't get me wrong, but I've played all the other Yakuza games, including Judgment, and after 7 of them, having an English dub instead of the Japanese audio just feels weird to me, so I actually restarted it today.
Oh yeah, really? With the Japanese?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And from what I can see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the English dub looked pretty good.
Oh yeah, the English dub is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that after playing 7 Yakuza games,
yeah, and that's definitely like you're used to the Japanese voices, so it's like it's a big difference, especially when you see like same characters that you saw before. It's like, oh man, like I was hearing Majima speaking in a clip today, and I was like, it doesn't sound like Majima.
No, that's actually Matthew Mercer, no, Kanji, in Persona 4, the animation season 2. And don't get me wrong, he's a great voice actor and everything, but maybe it just takes some getting used to. But it just didn't sound right to me, so I had to switch the audio tracks.
Huh? Oh, I get it. But you had to restart the whole game for that.
Well, I decided to just restart the entire game because I wanted to. Yeah, I'm a nerd, so I wanted to experience the whole story.
Okay, no, I gotcha. That's the type of thing that I would do. But they also allow you to, switch it in the playthrough if you felt like it. Right?
I just got a notification on Twitter, by the way, saying that you guys chose a really unfortunate time for the podcast. YouTube just went down, apparently.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. I've been rushing trying to refresh because I normally have music playing in the background, but I can't load it. So the problem is YouTube. It's not my internet. Is that it?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing on Twitter. I just got a notification about that.
I can see that as well.
Faisal actually sent it.
Okay, give me 1 second because
all right, guys, we're going to get this right.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that because I don't see anyone else talking about this, but that would explain why I'm not able to refresh the. Let me try on my phone though, just to see if I was sure it was me. I was like, okay, well the stream works fine. The music doesn't want to work. I don't know why, so I'll try that real quick.
I'm trying it too.
If that's the case, bro, that's a bummer. No, it works
on
my
looking
phone.
Forward to this, dude.
It works on my phone, though.
Let's keep on going then. Video's fine for me, but I've seen people talking on Twitter, says Subriku.
Oh, you're really, bro? But why does it work on my? Oh no, it was a downloaded video. So it was a downloaded video. I have YouTube Premium, so no, when I try to watch a video, random video on the home page that's not downloaded, it doesn't work. It just load infinitely. So YouTube is
mine's
down.
not loading either.
Okay, right. So YouTube's down. What the hell? That's such a bruh. Yeah, you guys are fine because you opened the stream before, but now no one else can join from what I can understand.
Hey,
Wow.
at least people can watch it later if it's still recording. That is.
Yeah, it's worst. Yeah, for sure. That's the thing. You're right, bro. Is it still recording? Like, is it going to go live after? I never experienced something like this with YouTube. Oh, man.
We're in this together, man.
Bruh, a similar thing that happened was when they announced Steve in Smash. Twitter was like that, basically. It was just loading infinitely. Dude just crashed for like 10 minutes or something.
Oh, yeah, I remember that completely. And that was so out of nowhere, and that became the biggest meme for a good week, and then the meme died. So.
Yeah, definitely. I leave my soundtrack and playlist that I have loading. So whenever it gets back up, I'll be able to know at least. So hopefully it records the stream though, so people can have it afterwards. I think I'm recording it in my settings like by default, so we should be good. I should be able to upload it after if it drops, but I think the video only works if you were watching it before it collapsed. Yeah, basically. Okay.
Hey, we got another person watching now, so.
Yeah, but can they hear us, or is it just loading infinitely?
I'm trying to load it up on my phone, see what's happening, but it's not one to load at all.
Yeah, exactly. On my part, it doesn't want to work either. But hey, I'm recording this, so we'll keep going, and hopefully it gets better if people want to join in live. If not, we'll definitely have the playback. If people want to watch it afterwards, it's going to be a possibility as well. Because I would like to say, like, if they tell us it's going to be back in like 5 minutes, we will put it on hold, but I'm not sure now, so... How does that sound? You're good? We keep going?
That sounds good with me.
Awesome.
Let's keep on going, man.
Awesome. Now the big question is, and the big question that I had was, what made you decide to buy the PlayStation 5? Was it a game, a specific game? Was it a feature? Or was it just like me who you're like, I'm gonna get one at some point, so why not right now?
So people are going to call me a Sony fanboy for this, but I obviously own other consoles, but I've always gotten a PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and now 5. And it's just the games, man. I mean, The Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted. I mean, I love all those PlayStation exclusives.
The first.
So I don't want to give that up, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I gotcha. So for you, what was coming day one was definitely enough for a day one buy.
Oh, definitely. The fact that Miles Morales was coming and the fact that... God of War 2018 is one of my favorite games of all time, and the fact that I'll be able to play that in 4K 60 FPS on my PS5, that was a no-brainer for me.
Okay, that was enough of a system seller by itself. Hey, good news.
Definitely.
It's back up.
Oh, good.
It's back up. My soundtrack just loaded.
Awesome. Now we can really continue this, man.
It should be good. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad, though, that we got this comment. Thanks for telling me, though, because I was starting to be like, I hope this stream won't crash because of my fucking internet, but it was not really the problem, so that's the good thing. I thought so because I was loading everything else and it worked perfectly, but now it works, so let's jump right into anything else. Cool, so yeah, the features were enough. Let's say that they were in a similar situation as Microsoft without Spider-Man, without any other of the they don't have other first-party games, but let's say that you have the next year of uncertainty when it comes to first-party PlayStation games. Would you have still bought it day one? If it's clear, is my question clear?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The question's definitely clear. I think I would totally still buy it day one. I mean, people are going to call me a Sony fanboy. I might be, but it's when a new console releases, I always try to go out first and get it. I got the PS4 near launch day during the last console generation, so it's almost like I just gotta do this for myself. So, and don't get me wrong, I would have bought an Xbox, but the thing is that the exclusives, man. I mean, even if there was some uncertainty, the Xbox, there's a bunch of uncertainty right now with first-party titles. So, I mean, you have that backwards compatibility, which I'm sure you said that you're excited for.
Absolutely.
And the fact that And the fact that the PS5 can only do PS4 games backwards compatible, no 3 or 2 or 1, it's a bit of a bummer, but honestly, all I need is my PlayStation 4 games because so many games have gotten remastered and everything that I've got a back catalog of stuff that I'm ready to play at 4K 60 FPS that I haven't played. I still got like Days Gone to play. I still got a huge backlog of games to play. So,
oh yeah, we always have a huge backlog. So, oh yeah, that's a fair answer. No, I wouldn't call you a fanboy. Like, when you're a fan of a company, you not necessarily. I don't like the expression fanboy. Like, why can't I just be excited and happy of getting the new system? Please don't bother me with it.
and also, I cannot get my 900 DLC songs on Rock Band 4 over to my Xbox. They're stuck on PlayStation. So
okay. And I just want to get back to what you were saying with backwards compatibility. Like, I'm excited for backwards compatibility because finally Sony goes back to it with PS5. They're like, okay, you have PS4 games. That got me excited. And you mentioned PS3, PS2, PS1. If those were available, those would be available. It's such a bigger deal than it is on Xbox. Because I can list a bunch of PS2 games that I would play tomorrow on the PS5 if it was backwards compatible. But for Xbox, there's a few. Like, I definitely plan on playing Oblivion, which has been on my backlog forever. I do want to play this on Series X. I will also play Fable, games that I want to play but that I have never played. That's an advantage. But if that was the case on PS2, bro, I would play a bunch of SNT games, and like there's a bunch of other games that we could play backwards compatible. That would be amazing.
Oh, definitely. One of the games I would love to play backwards compatible would be the original God of War games. You know, they remastered it for the PS3, but they never released that for PS4 or PS5, and that would be absolutely perfect to have. But I think Sony needed backwards compatibility for this console more than Microsoft needed it for Xbox Series X, I feel like.
Yep, yeah, definitely. But hey, it's a plus for them. At least they have that going for them because, let's be honest, they're lacking when it comes to first-party support for now. I do feel like it's going to be better in the future, especially with the recent acquisitions that they did. But at this point, it's worrisome. Like, if I just had an Xbox, no Nintendo console, no PS5, I would be like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to play next. Like, first-party wise, it's worrisome. Like, Sony, 2021 is going to be amazing for them. Horizon, Ratchet and Clank, maybe God of War. Like, they already have a packed lineup. Nintendo, it's even better. They're like Shin Megami Tensei 5, Nocturne, maybe Scramble if it happens at some point. Then we have
what's that Scramble game that you mentioned? I've never heard of it before.
Oh, you never heard of it, right? Oh yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm talking about. Maybe I mixed up. No, but it's just we're certain with them, but Xbox, we don't know what they're going to do next. We have no clue. Like, we saw a CG trailer for Fable, but that's not coming next year. Elder Scrolls 6, that's not coming next year. Like, and it's a Bethesda game, so if that's an exclusive, we don't know. So yeah, it's worrisome. It would be worrisome, at least.
I mean, even, Halo got delayed. Did they even announce anything for a new Gears of War game? I don't even remember.
No, I don't think so. And Gears 5 came out last year, if I'm not mistaken. So we're not getting that either soon, in my opinion. Oh, man. Yeah, I would be worried. But hey, they have some good stuff going for them. The performance in most of the games is considered better, like load times and stuff like that, than the PS5. It's minor things. For me, I personally don't care, but they have those things going for them. Backwards compatibility is obviously it's a good first step for Sony, but they're still behind in that regards as well. So the fact that they don't have any games coming is a bummer, but at least they have that. So.
But at least you can play Sonic Unleashed at 60 FPS on your Xbox Series X.
I saw that. Finally, how many years did it take for this game to run the way that it should have on the first console?
To be fair, it did look amazing seeing that footage.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, wow, that's the game. That's how it should have looked the first time.
Oh, yeah, maybe, and that's the thing with these backwards compatible these machines are so powerful. Running a PS4 game or an Xbox, Xbox One, that's what it is. I keep on getting confused with the Xbox names. Running those is really simple for the machines, and it's like we don't need remasters anymore. Almost every game that was released last generation, all you gotta do is release a that uncaps the frame rate, or at least caps it to 60 FPS, and you're good. There's not really a need for a remaster anymore.
Yeah, that's a very good thing that you just brought up, because the fact that, we're probably going to get less remasters because we'll now get everything that is considered nowadays a remastered, with the fact that you're playing on a PS5 instead of a PS4. So let's think about it in another way. The fact that companies will release less ports or remastered of PS4 games, maybe they will go back before. Maybe they'll go back to PS2, PS1, PS3, because that requires more work. So this is what they're going to resell now. I hope they're going to go in that direction. That would be amazing. Like, instead of a God of War 3, like they did on PS4, we're going to get, like, collection of the God of Wars. All the God of Wars, PSP, PS3, PS2, all of them, basically. That's the type of ports or remastered that they will do now. Does that make sense?
Well, that's the dream right there. I mean, you don't even have to. So, this generation, we never got Persona 3 or Persona 4 on the PS4.
Yep.
Now, on the PS3, they released ports of the games on the PlayStation Store that you can buy for $10. And I was always baffled, because I also bought Need for Speed Most Wanted for my PS3 as well. And I was baffled why that wouldn't work on my PS4. I'm like, all you literally have to do is put the port back onto the store.
Yep.
These machines can run it, and they can run it even better now.
Of course.
I mean, I just don't see why companies are hesitant to put their stuff up, even their older games. There's a market out there for these old games.
Yeah, well, I think they want to resell them, like, by doing remasters. Like, let's be honest, Nocturne is a good example. A PS2 game, they are selling us probably a $50 remastered, and the job that they did is, like, I'm going to be extremely honest here. The job that they're doing for $50 for us for Nocturne remastered is worse than the upgrade than we get from a game like God of War from PS4 to PS5, which is a free upgrade. Like, it's crazy when you think about it. Like, you get a cool performance boost by playing God of War from your PS4 to your PS5. A cool boost easily, like the frame rate's better and resolution. And I don't know if that's the case with God of War, but that's the first game that came to mind. Like, you get upgrades, and when you buy a $50 port of Nocturne, a PS2 game, you get crashes, you get DLC, chugs. You get chugs, you get crash. Oh man, no, it's It's
really a subpar remaster, and it's how you should not. I'm sorry, I love you, Atlas. I love you, but this is not how you remaster a game. Even though it sold well, it's not how you remaster a game.
Yep. Oh man. So hopefully the third party and first party developers, they start to think about that and say, okay, we can't just re-release. Let's say what game came out at the beginning of last generation. Let's say Assassin's Creed Unity. We can't remaster that. We have to remaster something else now because they can just pop the disc in from last gen and it's already going to perform better.
I'm glad you mentioned Assassin's Creed Unity, if you don't mind me bringing that up for a second. Do you watch a lot of Digital Foundry? Does everyone in the chat watch a lot of Digital Foundry videos by chance?
I watched a few and I hear people talk about them very often, but not that much personally.
So they did a video for backwards compatibility for the PS5. They did one for the Xbox as well, but they did one for the PS5. And for some reason, Assassin's Creed Unity released way early into the PS4 life cycle. Yeah. For some reason, I think there's something with the code or something, but the game chugs on PS5. Like, you're getting 32 FPS to 40 in some places where there's not even a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So there's some issues there as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
YouTube's still down?
Yeah, I'm just telling the guys in the chat because I think some of them are trying to figure out what's going on. But it's you guys are not the problem. YouTube is down. so it's crashed. I mean, YouTube down is trending on Twitter at the moment. So the only ones who are able to hear us and watch the podcast is the one who were there at the beginning. So I'll just type in really quickly to let everyone who can hear us that this is going to be re-uploaded afterwards.
Definitely. Shout out to all you guys for sticking around with us.
Yeah, you guys are great. Thank you so much. It won't be long. Very sorry for the problem.
But yeah, for some reason, Unity just chugs on the PS5, and that may be a problem with like source code or something, but...
Oh, really? The game initially?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it chugs on PS5, man. Like, you're getting frame rates between 30 and 40 on Assassin's Creed Unity. So I think that's like a code problem, and developers actually have to go in and patch that, I believe, for the system. I don't think it's a problem with the system itself. It's just a problem with codes and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a few things like that that I heard for the PS5, like Scramble as well has had an issue where you were crashing at a certain part in the game when playing on PS5. You know, the game that you've never heard of?
I don't know what game you're talking about, David.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be an interesting launch. Honestly, I can't wait to hear people's thoughts getting their hands on the console, because it's time. Like, I'm ready to move on from the PS4 now.
Man, tomorrow's going to be a long day at work. I'm supposed to get off early, and it's still going to be a long day.
Absolutely. Awesome. I always like to ask those questions, like people who've been listening to my podcast for a while. You guys know I like to have my crazy questions. And there's one question that I wanted to ask you is, I keep hearing you talk, and we've been talking for a few days about the fact that you really like Sony first party games. Now, the question that I want to ask you is, it can be anything. Which PS5 first party announcement for a game would make you go crazy? It can be anything.
Well, we already had that God of War teaser, so that's kind of out of the question right now.
Yeah.
At the end of the state of play, if I had to pick one game, it would probably be Uncharted 5. Honestly,
Uncharted 5. Yeah. Do you think it's going to happen at some point?
Oh, definitely. They'd be crazy to not make an Uncharted 5. The only problem is that I don't know if you played Uncharted 4 or anything, but they ended the story so well.
Okay, but they're able, with the way that they ended it, to do a sorry, I'm reading the chat. It's back. YouTube's back.
Oh, let's go.
I can't load it on my part, but if you guys can, it's great. They're probably still struggling with the server, but yeah, I never played the Uncharted game, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly how it ended, so that's what I was asking. But Uncharted, yeah, it's a great pick.
I would absolutely go crazy if they announced Uncharted 5. They left the ending very open for you, so they can continue the series with different characters and stuff, but that would be the game for me.
Awesome. Yeah, great pick. I bet that's the pick that a lot of people would pick. I mean, those games are praised, really highly praised, so that would be cool. And on my part, if I have to give that's harder because we talked about it. I've always been on PlayStation, but there's no, and that's crazy. And I get backlashed for that multiple times in the past, but there's no major first party games about Sony that I get excited about. That's crazy. Like, I haven't played Horizon, I haven't played God of War, I never played what else?
Last of Us.
Last of Us I did play, but I didn't like it. Like, that's the game that I always bring up when people, when there's like those tweets that we get every so often talking about which gaming opinion gets you in trouble and stuff like that. That's always the game that I bring up, because every single time I'm like, I didn't like Last of Us. I can see that it's quality, it's just not for me. People are always like, oh, how can it be? You have to be tried, blah, blah, blah. Like, because, it's a very, very praised problem.
I mean, it's not for everybody. It's my favorite game of all time. We don't talk about that we don't talk about that second game that released, at least the second part of the game. But yeah, the first one's definitely my favorite game of all time.
Wow, awesome. I didn't know that. So it's not Persona 4.
No, it is not Persona 4 Golden, actually. Last of Us really made me fall in love with the world, and after coming out from all the Uncharted games that Naughty Dog made, I thought that was their
Awesome.
finest work yet. So
Yeah, again, I definitely see that it's quality. I think it's just not necessarily my cup of tea, but yeah, I feel I know that it's quality. So if I were to ask you the same question that I asked you before about any type of crazy first party announcement, what if I were to ask third party now? Which
okay,
game would make you go crazy? Anything doesn't have to make sense.
all right. Do we count remasters?
Yeah, remasters, remake, yeah, why not?
Okay, this is going to be really out of left field, but of course, I would love anything Persona related.
Yeah.
But The Simpsons Hit and Run, or a remaster that would
Oh yeah.
absolutely just make me go insane.
This game is amazing. Hit and Run, definitely the best Simpsons game in my opinion. Played that on GameCube back in the day.
Yeah. It was the game that you could play when your parents wouldn't allow you to play a GTA, so you had to
Yeah.
settle for Hit and Run. But the thing is that it was such a quality game, and I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was definitely a great game. I liked it so much. And I got that as a Christmas gift from a friend actually. This game was fun. We were playing it and I remember my parents were like, "What's this gift?" Because we were really young and we were just kicking everyone in the streets with Homer. It was crazy. Yeah, this game's great. I would like a remaster as well. Who's behind this game though?
I felt bad because the first thing I did in the game was a kick Marge.
Oh
So,
yeah, really? Oh, you were a worse kid than I was. At least we were not kicking our wife. It was the citizens. Is it
yeah, no,
better
I
though?
felt pretty bad about that afterwards, but I had a good laugh about it. So
Yeah, and the way that the characters fall when you kick him, it's just so funny. I
the
remember it like it was
animation's
yesterday. Yeah,
hilarious.
the
They go into
animation.
like a fetal position.
Yeah, the animation is crazy on there. Yeah, it's fun. This game's amazing. I would buy that, but I'm curious now because those type of games that were really successful in that generation. I feel like a bunch of them have been remastered now. So I don't know who's behind this game, but I don't know. I'm just gonna look it up.
Oh, another one of those. Now that you mentioned that, another game that was really special to me in my childhood was SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. I don't know if you played that before.
Yeah, you told me about that one. Yeah, no, I back in the day, mine that I had, the GameCube game that I had for SpongeBob was the one about the movie, the one with the
Oh yeah,
hamburger
yeah,
car.
which was a sequel. Well, it's not really a sequel, but it's the game that came after Battle for Bikini Bottom, same engine and everything. But they remastered Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I absolutely adored it. So I'm hoping that they just remastered Destroy All Humans. I think THQ Nordic's got some other stuff on the way as well. So I'm
Yeah,
really hoping to have some more of those fun, old games come back at some point.
yeah, and THQ is doing lots of those type of remasters, so I definitely feel like it's gonna happen at some point. Well, I hopefully. But Simpsons Hit and Run, man, that's a great pick. If you wanted to like anything else, let's. I want to hear another one. I want to hear like a big game. Something that
Okay.
you would go crazy for, but that a lot of people would go crazy for.
Well, maybe just a localization of Persona 5 Scrambled. That would be great. But
That'd be great.
um, a third party game. That's really hard to say off the top of my head, honestly.
It can be something new as well, like a sequel to a game or something like that.
Whew, that's a
Anything.
tough one, man. I would love a Danganronpa 4.
Is it gonna happen at some point?
I'm not sure. They're celebrating the anniversary of the series, and I saw you earlier today. You were looking to
Get into the
get into
series.
Danganronpa.
Yeah, I bought the trilogy on Steam after the recommendations that I got. It's on sale. It's 75% off, so I'll definitely jump into the series at some point. I've been watching videos about it, and I keep hearing people on Twitter about it because obviously it's this. I feel like this community, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know much about them, but the community of Danganronpa, I feel like they're really close to the Persona community and also the Ace Attorney community, which I'm part of
Oh,
both.
definitely.
So I keep seeing a lot of things about those games, and I want to get in. Now I have them, so it's gonna happen at some point.
I saw a tweet the other day. Someone responded to me on Twitter, and you're completely right. Someone's just said, "I see that you love Persona and Danganronpa. You're a man of culture." The fandoms kind of overlap each other. I feel like so. You're
Yeah,
definitely right about that.
Definitely. Like there was, the Persona Awards, and then the Megaton
Danganronpa.
Awards, and then Danganronpa appeared. Like you can see that those communities are close, and we're gonna see Ace Attorney Awards at some point if that's not already on. Hey, we have another retailer who announced that we will have a PS5 pre-orders. They announced in specific time now. I'm watching at the same time as I told you before, but I'll tell you what's going to happen tomorrow for the PS5 at 11 a.m. Eastern time. There's going to be pre-orders up for EB Games, which is GameStop, and there's also the Source, which is an electronics store. Walmart and Best Buy are all gonna go up at 11 a.m. all at the same time.
And you've got this.
I'm
You got
scared.
this, man.
I'm scared. And then there's Toys R Us at 9 a.m. that I have to try.
Just make sure you don't click on that digital version.
Oh, it won't happen. Don't believe me. It won't happen.
There,
No chances.
there is, I get buying games digitally, but here's the thing: you're limiting yourself to one way of playing games. Like,
Yeah.
you find physical games on sale regularly. Like right now, Danganronpa V3 was $60 still on the PSN before it got taken down and everything. That's insane because the game's been out for years. So
Yeah.
there's other ways to get games, and if you're just limiting yourself to one way to play a game, and plus you're not getting that 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah. You don't
as
have
well.
the option. So yeah, I get it. And there's that, and there's also the fact that I'm living in my game room, and I love to see those boxes on my shelf. I know
Yeah.
that some people call me stupid for that, but it makes me happy. I love to like look at the cases and like remember memories about the games that I love. And I'm even at a point where I'm buying Japanese games, like the Japanese Megaton games that we didn't get here in the West. I'm buying the physical copies and I play like the emulation version of the games because a bunch of them are fan translated. So that's my thing. I really love it. So for me, a console without a disc drive is like, and I just got a 4K TV, so I can't wait. I never had 4K before, and I bought a brand new Toshiba 4K HDR TV this weekend. I'm ready for next gen. I bought my first 4K DVD today. Is that 4K Blu-ray? Sorry, today, and I can't wait to watch a movie as well in 4K. It's something new for me. I'm excited.
Man, 4K Blu-ray, I don't mean to sound a little too, excited about it, but it is life-changing. And let me give you a little piece of advice. I don't know how big Black Friday is up in Canada, but usually Walmart has 4K Blu-rays for like $7 on Black Friday.
It's cheap. It's really cheap.
So yeah, man. Normally they're like $30, but Black Friday, you can get a ton of them. Like, I'm sure they'll put Sonic up for $7, and I'll buy that immediately.
In 4K, yeah, that's crazy. That's my first one that I bought. It is Batman Begins, the first one,
Oh, yes.
4K, and it was $6 Canadian.
Oh,
4K
dude, you
HD.
can't beat that.
Yeah, it's Canadian, so that's like $4 your price. That's crazy cheap for a 4K DVD. Every time that I look at them in stores, they're always like $20 or $25, and I definitely am not spending $25 on a Blu-ray. Except if it's something that I really want. So, no, I couldn't skip it.
That's crazy, man. Last year on Batman Day, I got the 4K Dark Knight trilogy on 4K Blu-ray, and I still paid $45 for it.
Oh, yeah, that was
So
$45.
that $6
Okay,
is
so.
a steal.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that trilogy as well, and it was also very cheap. I think it was like in the 20s or something like that. I'm not too sure, but I decided just to buy one to see how it was. But damn, you sound like it's you can definitely see the difference.
Oh man, it's life changing. I own all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies as well on 4K Blu-ray,
Nice.
and they just look spectacular.
Yeah, I bet. Can't wait to try it. Can't wait to try it. Now I want to go back to the talk about the PlayStation 5. Actually, I also wanted in that section to do kind of a tribute to the PS4 with a few questions since we're ending the life of the PS4 this week, going to PS5. And the first question that I wanted to ask you was, because I have one game in mind, but is there a specific PS4 game that is on your backlog that you've been keeping an eye on but that you never played that you want to play on the PS5? Is there one?
Well, definitely Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, you didn't play this one.
No, I
Okay.
wanted to play. I wanted to wait till a few of the other games came out, but I figured best time to play it. Let's just pop it in the PS5. I'm sure it's going to look and run spectacular.
It's gonna be better. I played it on my standard PS4 Slim, so not the Pro, but the regular one. So it had issues at times, like frame drops and kind of weird resolution. Not resolution, but weird images at times. Like I think they patched that later. I played this one at launch, so but there was like some issues in regards to let's say there was a specific door in Midgard who looked just blurry. It looked like a PS2 game door, and everything else was beautiful. So that was weird, but I think that was patched if I'm not mistaken. But definitely cool pick. You're gonna have a blast. The game's great, and yes, on PS5 it's gonna look great. Was there? Did you see if there was any specific improvements for this one?
I haven't seen anything. No, I've been really paying attention to like God of War and stuff, and seeing that uncapped frame rate. I'm really hoping. I'm not sure if they've released an uncapped frame rate patch for Final Fantasy VII, and that'll pretty much solve any issues about me worried about if it's going to be locked at 30, since it's going to be basically emulating the PS4 Pro software.
Yeah.
But I have no idea with the Final Fantasy VII remake though.
You're gonna have a blast. Honestly, I really liked it. There's issues. There's issues with the game, but for all things considered, the fact that they had to like pack in this massive experience in one part, they had to cut the original story for this one. I think they did a great job. Honestly,
I'm probably going to get flamed online for saying this, but this will be my first Final Fantasy game.
it's gonna be your first Final Fantasy game.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that's impressive coming from someone who plays a bunch of RPGs. But hey,
Oh yeah, man.
we all have those secrets.
Yeah, I know probably someone's going to flame me online, but yeah, I just never got around to them, man. And honestly, I didn't really start playing JRPGs until like a year or two ago. The game that really got me into it, if you don't mind me talking
Oh
about
no,
that
no,
for a
of course,
second.
I'm definitely interested.
The game that really got me into that was Yakuza Zero. Um, I bought it back in 2017. In fact, I can pull it up on my Amazon list right now to tell you the exact day I bought it. I kind of went out on a
Awesome.
limb and got it, and I didn't like anime or anything at the time, man,
Huh.
and popped it in. And you've played Yakuza Zero before, right?
Yes, 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 and that's a game that I was planning on bringing on in the next few questions. Yes, I did. It's an amazing game. So that's the game that's get got you into Japanese games. That's what you were
Awesome,
saying.
awesome. So you know, oh, definitely. The story kind of starts off really slow, put it down for a little bit, but then I started back up again, and man, I could not put it down, and that
Yeah.
eventually got me to play in the other series. I watched it, started watching a bunch of anime, and then I got into Persona from that.
Wow. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that because it's a great game. Like you started with something amazing. Yakuza 0 is top 10 games of all time for me. Definitely in the top 10.
It's definitely the biggest. I feel like it's the biggest surprise of the PS4 generation, because you know before Yakuza Zero, uh, Yakuza 5 had to be petitioned to even get a digital release here in the West. And then Yakuza Zero just blew up, man.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
now we have every mainline game on the PS4, and it's going to
Yeah.
be playable on the PS5, which
Yeah.
is insane to me.
And they're expanding onto Xbox now and PC with Kiwami 2, Zero. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. We were so
It's
close. It's like
definitely a moneymaker.
yeah, it is. It is a big title for Sega now, and I'm glad because this series is great. And you see, it is kind of like not Xenoblade, Fire Emblem. Like after the one on the Wii, what's the name? The one after Path of Radiance. It is, oh boy, I'm not too sure, but there was a Fire Emblem game on the Wii. That's one that we got in the West, and it flopped. And just before Awakening, I watched some interview, listened to some interviews, and they were like, it was the last push that we were giving to Fire Emblem in the West. And Fire Emblem Awakening blew up on the 3DS. And now Fire Emblem Three Houses, Nintendo announced this week, it is the best-selling strategy RPG of all time. The best-selling Fire Emblem game as well. So it's crazy. It's like that with Yakuza. They were on the edge of dropping the series for us, and then boom, it explodes. It's amazing. It did the same thing with Fire Emblem.
This console generation was definitely special for Japanese-based games.
Oh yeah, so. definitely. And the game that I want to get back to this before I forget it. But the game for me that you said you wanted to go back for me PS4 is Devil May Cry 5. Like this one, I always wanted to play it, but I never got around to playing it. And now they're dropping the special edition DMC5. That's going to be a pickup for me. And I know that this game is like a kind of a showcase for what the console can do. So I can't wait to play this one.
120 FPS, man. That's going to be insane.
Yeah, for this type of game. No, I'm ready. This is one that I want to play for sure. You answered partially my next question already, but the last little question in regards to PS4, the last review that I wanted to do to the console is, what's your favorite PS4 game?
If we're not counting remasters and stuff,
yes, original PS4 game.
Definitely God of War 2018. That game just when that came out, I got like the most expensive edition possible, and I literally took off a week at work just to play it because it released near my birthday.
Okay, so big
God of War. I love God of War. I played all the games, even the handheld games.
Wow.
So that's definitely But if you want to ask me what the biggest surprise to me for this generation was Yakuza 0.
Was it?
I really wanted to say Yakuza 0 for that answer.
Awesome.
I really did.
Yep. Well, you God of War is also an amazing pick, and you see, it's interesting now that we're. There's something that I'm hearing in the background. Sorry. Okay, it was weirder. The video started. Yeah, for me, Yakuza 0 was in my picks. I was about to cheat and say 3 games for this question. Yakuza 0 was part of them for sure. P5R, I really liked it as well. I'm saying P5R because I feel like it's a better game than vanilla. But in general, P5 as a package, it's just such a good game. So I definitely wanted to mention it. And my honorable mention is my Game of the Year 2020 with 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim that I had to mention because this game is amazing and it's going to fall under the radar, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully not, because it's going to be $30 during Black Friday. So.
It's going to be $30 during Black Friday. You're correct. But we talked about that on the spoiler cast yesterday with Ozzy and Spencer. And you know what? We're thinking that those $30 copies of 13 Sentinels are probably the last one. Like, they're probably not going to reprint this game. That's what we're thinking.
I don't see that. How much did it even sell? Do we even have actual numbers of how well it sold here in the West?
We don't have specific numbers, but what we do know is that it was not in the top 20 during its first week of sales.
Jump Force beat it.
Jump Force beat it. Yep. So, no, it's unfortunate because this game, it just released at a bad time. The marketing campaign for this game was utter garbage. And it's not an easy game to sell to people, honestly. Even in our reviews, like we were talking about that yesterday as well, it's hard to sell this game to someone who never played it. Like, we're all talking about this game in a spoiler cast and we're going crazy around this game. But try to explain this to someone who has no clue what it is. Or like to a Call of Duty fan, they're going to look at you like you're an alien or something.
Oh, definitely. My girlfriend, she's been an Atlas fan since. She got the original Persona 3 on her PS2, so she's been an Atlas fan forever, and she loves Vanillaware games. She loves Muramasa. There's some other games that she's played as well. Left my mind, but she saw the gameplay for this, and she's not a strategy game kind of person. Mm-hmm. She's like, I really want to play for the social aspect, but that gameplay, that strategy gameplay, just it's weird. Mm-hmm. Like, I wonder why they went with that instead of like a hack and slash kind of mech game.
Yeah, it's RDS was an interesting choice for sure for this one. Honestly, with what you just told me about what she told you, I would recommend that she gives a try to the battle system, because if you don't like the battle system, you can just put it in casual and rush through the battles. It's like 40 seconds a battle with no difficulty level on normal. So if you're playing casual, it's even easier. So if you don't like it, you can just rush through it like this and experience the amazing story. That's
exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's if it's something that you really don't like, but give it a try before. Because honestly, I never played an RTS game before on consoles. That was my first time, and it's not because of that, obviously, that I bought the game. And I ended up beating all the missions. It's fun. Honestly, it is fun. It is lacking cool features, but it's definitely not a mode to underestimate. Like, I did my first just to give you a good idea, I did my first spoiler cast on the channel myself with Kuro and LaRue, and the three of us were talking about the game, and the three of us were set on the fact that the battle system is great. There's some small issues with it, but it's not something that we thought would be great, but we all liked it in the end. And you see, yesterday with Ozzy and Spencer, it was the exact same thing. The three of us were like, yep, battle system, it works, there's some issues, but it's still great. It's still better than what I was expecting. So definitely, if you plan on just rushing through it, give it a chance before, because it might change your mind.
The social aspect of it really interests me. Like I said, I'm probably going to turn it on easy myself that's another game that I'm waiting to play on my PS5, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I can't wait to give it a shot, man. It looks gorgeous, and I really hate that the marketing for the game was just utter garbage.
It was terrible. Like, I do remember when they dropped this summer the first Western official Atlas West trailer for 13 Sentinels. Do you remember what that trailer was?
I don't remember the first official trailer. I do not.
Okay, well, think for a few seconds about what's the worst possible thing that you could show from this game to sell it to a Western audience. And this is what they did. Yes, they did a character trailer for this game. That's the first trailer that we got. Like, you see the characters, they show the gameplay. You don't get any type of info about the story. You just see, oh, this is the character, this is another character, this is another. That was the first trailer for this game. You watched it, and I was covering this game. I've been covering this game since it was announced, or at least I've been watching this game since it was announced. And I was listening to this trailer, and I was like, it's clear that if you're not someone who followed the Japanese release of this game, you have no clue of what's going on. That's the first trailer that they gave us.
Well, here's the thing, and I saw them post a lot on Twitter about, the characters, like you said, like the character trailers, but all they did on Twitter was like, oh, look at this guy. Isn't it funny how much he likes this type of food right here? Buy the game.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. The yakisoba pan. That's like, it was... You see, this character that you're talking about, it's Ijiyama. He's just an extremely interesting character. His whole plot is amazing, and he has like a very interesting development as a character. Like, just to give you a good idea, he's a military from the 1920s, and he jumps into the future, and he's homosexual. So a military from 1920 who's homosexual, everyone in like the 2000s, they don't have a problem with him being homosexual, but himself is so embarrassed, because obviously as a military in the 1920s, to be homosexual was a big problem. So he's really embarrassed with himself. So it's just to show you how he's a good and well-developed character with an amazing plot, and what they're showing is, oh, yakisoba pan, ha ha ha. It's like,
he likes yakisoba. Buy the game.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, they did a poor job with this one, and it's unfortunate because it's a great game. We all know that in 5 years it's going to end up on all those, hidden gems videos and stuff like that. It is unfortunate. It is great. If you're watching to this podcast and for whatever reason you didn't play the game, I recommend it. Do yourselves a favor. It's great. Or at least give it a chance.
And if you're listening to this podcast 5 years from now, David already called it. It's going to be on every hidden gem playlist ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically. Cool. So we did a pretty good roundup of the questions that I had for PS5. Sorry. You see, as I thought, we're already an hour in, and we're just on PS5. So I definitely want to prioritize the questions that we got on Twitter and Discord, because I want to answer those questions. They're always interesting, and we definitely have a bunch of interesting ones. So some of them are directly related to PS5 and next gen, while some are Atlas related, which is awesome. That allows us to talk about Atlas, even if it's a next gen podcast. So yeah, I'll ask you those questions. I want to hear your thoughts, and definitely we can talk about them as well
Awesome.
afterwards. The first one that we got is from VSips, who was in the chat before as well, fellow content creator. He asked, what would be some of your hopes to see in Persona 6? And he made a video on the matter as well. Great video if you want to check it out.
Oh, I've seen a lot of Persona 6 wishlist videos, but I think my answer might be the same as all those. I really want to see, as much as I love, interacting in a high school setting and everything, I think it's time for the series to grow up a little bit, and maybe even if they just do a college freshman or something, a first year in college, I think it's time to grow up and get some of that back in, like we had in Persona 2.
Yep,
with more adult cast. And the other thing I want to see, I still want palaces to be very similar, because let's be for real, as much as I love Persona 3, Tartarus was just a slog to get through, and even the Midnight Channel in Persona 4 wasn't that interesting.
Yeah, it was better, but not as interesting as... it was better than Tartarus, but not as interesting as the palaces, per se.
Basically, what I want to see is same stuff that we got in Persona 5 Royal, but just, grown up a little bit. I want to see, more grown up storylines and people in adult situations and stuff like that. So that's what I really want to see. Everything about Persona 5's gameplay is perfect to me. That might be me. People are going to say I'm a casual Persona fan after saying that, but you can't deny how good the gameplay is.
Yeah.
And I think if they just took that and just put it in Persona 6, it'd be a home run.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely one of the things that I always bring up as well. Yes, those small things like the female main character, for example, and things like that. I'm down for that, but the big thing is definitely the overall setting of the game. And they're doing such a great job with SMT, with mainline, that I'm like, please do what you're doing with SMT, but with Persona for the setting. Like, not just high school, let's jump into another era, let's go back in time or in the future, and look at SMT, like the freaking samurai era, and then you are in a futuristic setting with Strange Journey. Like, they're doing an amazing job. I wish they would do something similar with Persona. Don't get me wrong, I like the high school setting, I like it, but just as you mentioned, it's been a lot of games now. We're ready to move on.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's time for the series to grow up. And you mentioned something about female protagonists. I really hope that they give us, I don't know if that would be too much recording or too much manpower going into making the game, but I would really like to see, because my girlfriend loved female protagonists in P3P. So I really hope that they give you the option to choose either male or female for the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that would be great. And I mean, it's 2020. It's the time. Like, come on. And
one thing. So I don't see Flame Wars on Twitter anymore. Give the character a set name.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah.
So definitely a great pick. Hey, I'm basically repeating what you're saying on that one. So definitely a great pick on that front. So thank you for the question, VC. Great question. Alfpix for free also asked, and that's another question from the Discord. He asked, do you think they will pull stupid DLCs like they did with SMT4? And here he's talking about SMT5. Do you think they will pull a similar type of DLCs that they did like in SMT4 with 5? Like, are you aware of the DLC that we got on 4 for 4?
I know that it got a little out of control. I don't know what exactly it entailed. But even with Persona 5 Royal, the DLC is kind of absurd, I feel like.
Yeah, well...
So...
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, man. I just feel like Atlas is always going to do that. There's a big market for DLC now, and you're always going to get, like, some... Even, they included Dante as Isn't he in DLC?
Yep.
In
Paid DLC.
Nocturne? Yeah, which is fine because I think Gnarly said something in his video about Nocturne about there's probably licensing fees and everything that goes into that. That's fine, but there's like little outfit packs and stuff that Atlas puts out for all these games and everything. It's so unnecessary. Just let me unlock it. I'm not going to spend $2 on like a outfit pack. I mean, it's like those little microtransactions. And I feel that's going to continue all into the future. Is that kind of answering your question?
Yeah, it is answering the question, and now I have a lot of things to say because you brought up some very interesting point. But yes, you're answering the question properly. There's one thing in particular that I think you're maybe you're not aware of, but there is story content as DLC in SMT4 as well. So there's certain DLCs that you buy that gives you like a new ending for the neutral route, for example. So those are another thing. Like for me personally, like the Royal DLCs, like the cosmetics and stuff like that, the boss battles, while I don't necessarily mind those, because if you're like me and you don't want to buy DLC except if it's something very spectacular, you'll just skip it and it's not really an issue. But the SMT4 DLC, where they had like endings locked behind the paywall, that's something that I don't want to see in SMT5, because that's shady DLCs in my opinion. So
you're asking your consumers who's already spent $60+ on the game, assuming it's going to be $60, to spend even more money to say, "Hey, you want the true ending? Here, buy this." No, that is a big no-no. I think that's a slap in the face to the consumer.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that you're saying true ending, because for real, the true ending for the neutral route is probably what they put on the DLC. Under the DLC, so that's definitely problematic. To answer your question, I'll fix for free. That's also my answer. Basically, there's one thing that I want to add though. With Royal, again, I don't mind the cosmetics DLC, but I just want to add on that what I have a problem with is that Royal is already a full price re-release. So all those older DLCs or the cosmetic DLCs, this is the type of content that you should put in your $60 re-release. So personally, those DLCs, while I don't mind what they represent, what's the content in the DLC, I have a problem that they're charging additional fees for that, since it's a $60 re-release. So, but there's another thing that I want to add on what you said. Again, I told you I have a lot to say. Nocturne and Dante. I watched Nyali's video and I get what he's saying, and he's right. They have to pay the rights to have Dante in the game again for their re-release to Capcom. But if they're selling this poorly made port to us for $50, like I'm pretty sure they will, it is up to them to pay the rights to have Dante in for their port, not to the consumer.
Definitely.
So that's,
I really don't see the game being more than $40.
Catherine Full Body on Switch was $50.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
And it was $20 at that time on PS4. So I hope you're right. I hope it's 40, but I feel like it's going to be 50.
Getting off on a tangent, by the way, you just mentioned Catherine for Switch and everything. It gets me that Atlas re-releases all these games and everything, and they don't do well. And they're like, "Oh, people don't want to see our game on Switch." It's like they release Scramble on Switch, but the game that comes before that is not on Switch.
Yep.
And you wonder why it didn't sell as well on Switch. It's because you don't have the full experience. Catherine's already been released 2 or 3 times before this.
It's even worse.
And you're wondering why it doesn't sell for $50. It's a fantastic game. I love it. I played it multiple times. I'm planning on doing a stream on that soon. But it doesn't make any sense to me. Yep. And I really don't see Nocturne going above. I really hope it's not above $40, because honestly, I might wait for a sale.
I agree with everything that you just mentioned. Yeah, Catherine's a very bad way to test the waters because honestly, it was out for a long time. It was already a re-release, and it was $30 over the price on PS4. So a bunch of people skipped the version, and it's understandable. I mean, I can't blame them. So definitely a good point. Scramble, yes, I always mention what you just mentioned, that the first game. This is a sequel to Vanilla, and Vanilla is not on Switch. So how do you expect this version to sell more than the other version where your first game is on? Like, it doesn't make sense.
While you're on that, SMT5 or SMT Nocturne, sorry, I'm definitely going to buy that on Switch because SMT5 is a Switch exclusive.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that they port SMT4 over at some point, even though I have a 2DS. But, I mean, I'm not going to buy Nocturne for my PS4, even though it might run better. I'm not going to buy it because Nocturne 5 isn't going to be on a PS5.
Absolutely. No, I gotcha. That's a fair statement. And you know what? They released the sale for Nocturne in Japan last week, and it oversold the PS4 version in Japan during its first week. It sold 51K copies in its first week on Switch, and that's physical only, and it sold 48,000 copies on PS4, physical only. So
that's fantastic news for Atlas Sega games on the Switch. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I feel like putting your stuff on the Switch. I mean, Switch may be more pricier in terms of, people always talk about there's that Switch tax and everything. I've won a Steins Gate on the Switch, and it's still $60 on the eShop, or you can buy it for $20 regularly on PSN. But there's just something about the Switch and that portability that really sticks with people. So I think it's a no-brainer to release all these. Atlas, if you're hearing me right now, I really want Persona 4 Golden on my Switch. Please.
Yep. And I have a video coming on talking about, the fact that Sega's been saying for multiple months, and they said it multiple times, that they want to go multi-platform with their older games. I have a video talking just about that next week because I had a news episode this week and I decided not to talk about it, and people brought it up. They were like, hey, you didn't talk about the news that Sega wants to go multi-platform. And I responded with, yeah, but that's because they confirmed that 6 times in the last 3 months. So
it's not news.
It's not news.
Not really.
Exactly. So that's why I decided not to talk about it. But next week, I will have a video dedicated to what I think is going to happen next. But just to come back on P4, I feel like they're going to bring it to newer hardware, whether it's the PS4, PS5, or Switch. It's a given. And Nocturne's also going to be released on PC as well. I'm very confident.
The day they do that, I am not confident in that at all. And the day they do that, I will upload a video of me doing the specialist dance of P4D if it's brought to PS5 or Switch.
All right, it's going to happen at some point, but I have a recording of what you just said, so I'll remind you.
Don't use that as evidence, man. I might actually have to do it.
I have proof. Thanks for answering. Yeah, chat, if anyone's not aware, YouTube is down and has been down for like 30 minutes now, unfortunately. So we don't have control over that. The only people who are able to watch the stream at the moment is the people that were there during the first 5 minutes and that are still with us. This should be re-uploaded normally directly after the stream on YouTube, so you should be able to watch it once YouTube comes back up. But if it doesn't upload because of the crash, I'll have a recording ready for you guys, so I'll be able to edit the music back in and I will upload it tomorrow if that happens.
Oh no, David might have to invite me back onto his podcast, and we might have to have some awesome conversations again at some point.
It might re-happen. Who knows? That was a great question. And he also has another question for... Oh, no, David, you're saying wrong things. No, the other question is from Twitter, actually, from Spacel. And he asked, do you prefer the design of the PS5 over the PS4? Also, how much do you like the XMB of the PS5?
Definitely, I think... Okay, so I actually read an article the other day that the PS5 design was actually supposed to be a lot bigger. Yeah, so that really caught my eye. But I absolutely love the design of the PS5 compared to like the tower design. I have a PS4 Pro.
Okay.
And it's like 3 layers on top of each other. It looks like a sandwich, honestly.
Yeah, it looks weird.
So I really prefer this sleek, futuristic design. I'm not going to have it standing vertically, though, because I don't have enough room in my entertainment space. The Pro is going into the living room, and now that we have a remote play app for PS4 to play your PS5 on, that's going to be perfect for me. But in terms of I absolutely love the PS5 design. I think it's Sony's best design yet.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's cool. It's beautiful, definitely. Personally, I have a preference for. I know that's not what you asked for, Spatial. Well, I do agree with you, man. That the PS5 looks better than the PS4. But if I want to add another question, I think the Series X looks better than the PS5. It looks more slick. It looks luxurious, I think.
We've gone this whole podcast without talking about the Xbox Series S.
Is it worth talking about?
Yeah, for real though, it looks like a boombox, man.
Yeah.
There's no point in buying that machine. It is specifically going to be for parents. Their kids want the new Xbox for Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, you can either get you can get the Xbox Series S or Switch for $300, and they're going to get the Xbox. And unfortunately, it's going to underperform. And to me, it's not really a next gen console. It may play next gen games, but it's kind of like in between, current gen and next gen to me.
It's definitely an in-between console, and it's interesting what you said as a comparison. But yeah, I do feel like a small kid who only wants to play Fortnite with his friend, he doesn't need the $500 system. Like, this small Series S will work perfectly for him, or a Switch would work perfectly for him. So that's definitely, I think Microsoft has something good on their hands. When I'm saying that, is it worth talking about? I'm just talking about us, you and me, because we don't care about it. But I still feel like it's a great product, though.
I think it's definitely the lowest on the ladder in terms of design for this generation.
Yep, I'd have to agree. Yeah, for me, it's Series X, PS5, Series S.
Definitely.
Personally. Cool. So that's just what I wanted to add. Thank you, Spatial, for the question. Now another question that we have is from Iran on the Discord, and that's a cool. I like the question. His question is: will we ever see another PS2 era of Atlus in terms of game releases and critical reception?
So you're talking about getting multiple games in in order, like we got Persona 3 and FPS, and then Persona 4 came out within a year or two of that.
Yeah, and I also think that he's talking about the number of games that they had, like Odin Sphere, like SMT Nocturne, Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, Raido 1 and 2, the Persona games, like a bunch of games. While on PS4 we got Catherine re-release, Persona 5, and Persona 5 Vanilla, and 13 Sentinels.
Yes and no. The reason I'm saying that is because, yes, if you count re-releases, they may re-release some games in order, and especially with the news within the past few months of Sega wanting to release more ports. But no, in terms of new games, because games are getting so complex, and it's taken more manpower and hours to develop all these new games for these new consoles, that I really don't see. Now, the sales may go up, don't get me wrong, but in terms of new games, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, like we talked before, I do feel like they're gonna re-release more games now. So if you count the newer games that they're gonna release, probably at the same pace as they're doing on the PS4 as they did on the PS4, plus hopefully more re-releases, it should be interesting. No, definitely nothing close to the PS2 era of Atlus, unfortunately.
I think the quality of games may go up. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in terms of it's just so complex to make games now. Games are getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and they're struggling with if we're being honest, they're struggling with HD development. They've been struggling since the 2010s. After.
Look at what happened with Persona 5.
Yeah, exactly, and SMT5 now.
Yeah, they've been in development hell forever.
Yep, they're struggling. So no, yes, they're gonna increase their quality. I don't expect an increase in quantity necessarily, even if they get bigger. But that's just me. But I think it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. The last question that we have is from Discord as well, and it's from Junga Atticus. And he asks, do you think it's possible to get an SMT 1 and 2 or 1 or 2 officially translated on the eShop at some point, kind of like what they did with Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and A Blade of Light?
I actually saw this question earlier, and I really started thinking about it. And first off, they would have to release it before March 31st, because apparently Nintendo is just completely getting rid of everything they make right now as of March 31st.
Something's going
don't
on,
really
on March 31st. Something's going on. I have a theory about that, but go ahead and I'll tell you my theory afterwards.
You're good, man. We did get SMT1. Japan got it on the Nintendo's online subscription service, I believe. But I don't think that, not that there's no interest in the SMT series at all. That's totally false with, Nocturne selling as well as it did and SMT5 coming. But I don't think there's enough demand for, especially an older game like SMT1, to be translated here in the West.
Yep, definitely.
In my opinion.
Yep. I think there's some chances. I don't know if they would sell it like this or if it would be like Japan with a Switch Online, but I would be so down because I want to play those games. And when I say that I want to play them in the near future. Those games look great. I watched Maka's videos this week about the game, and it's just every time that I watch a video about this game, I'm like, I want to play it. I want to play it. And I feel like this would definitely be the last push that I need to play them. So I don't know how likely it is, but I would play them for sure if they were to be released here. That would be amazing.
I mean, it's not the age of the game that's a problem. It's just that are a bunch of people going to sit down and play a pixelated game in 2021 that is or you could play this 3D Shin Megami Tensei 5 game that's coming out very soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't think. Obviously, we would buy it, you and me.
Yeah.
The rest of the content creators who are crazy, but to the casual fan, I really don't think it would sell.
Yeah, it wouldn't do that great. Yeah, but the thing is, the game's already translated, so it doesn't have to do that well.
Oh yeah, there's an iOS port, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So it's already translated. So if they just take the translation in that one and put it in, we're good. We're good to go. But hey, we'll see. Great question. I would like it to happen for sure.
Oh yeah, I would love for that to happen. And by the way, do that for Persona 1 and 2, by the way, for the PSP.
They should, because we talked about that multiple times now on the Discord server already. But those games, I feel like, yes, while they would benefit from certain performance add-ons. Let's say that they increase the resolution and the models, they make it look better for the characters and the demons and stuff like that. That would be great, but they couldn't do like massive gameplay changes. So those games, they don't necessarily deserve a remake. I think they do deserve some type of small remaster, but honestly, just a straight up port would be cool. I would be down.
See, I'm actually on the opposite end of the spectrum. Everyone says that they want a remake of Persona 3 and everything. I say that I think Persona 1 and both Persona 2 games deserve remakes more than Persona 3 does, because like I said earlier, with like the 2D graphics and everything, not that I don't want to play it. I mean, I'm in the middle of playing Persona 1 right now, but I think they just need remakes more than like Persona 3 or Persona 4 would need.
Yes, well, I want to agree, but at the same time, it's like those, if you have to think also, everything that you just mentioned makes sense. But if you look at it in another angle, let's say you're Atlas, if they are remastering or remaking Persona 1 and 2, I'm 100% certain that they're not going to do some major changes, like change the dungeon crawling and do like some type of Tartarus with it. They're not going to go that far. They're just going to increase the models, make it look better, touch the soundtrack. Hopefully they touch the music because they skipped it with Nocturne. But they're just going to do small touches like this. And so if they are to do just small touches like this, whether they do it to 1 and 2 or to 3, I think 3 would benefit more from those small touches than 1 and 2. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, but just don't do the lazy way like Nocturne. Just actually make it run decent.
That's the thing. But if they remake the whole thing, so if they do like a Final Fantasy remake with it, yes, P1 and 2 over 3, definitely. And anyway, I prefer those games over 3. That's just me. So
I've been thinking, with Nocturne and everything. I saw videos of like Spencer said it was going to be, it's running in Unity and everything. I wonder if they ported Persona 3 if they would take the same approach for FES, put it in
Maybe.
Unity, call it a day.
Maybe. I mean, it's cheap. It's cheap. It works. Why not?
It somewhat works.
Yeah, but I don't think the engine is the problem. I feel like it's probably on the development side of things because there's no reason why this game would underperform whether it's on Switch or PS4. It's a PS2 game. There's no reason except bad optimization. Like I heard some people saying that. Well, obviously the PS4 has certain issues, but the Switch has more issues. Well, that might be the case, but that's not normal because those people, the way that they were saying it, it was like it was normal that the Switch had more problems. But no, none of those two versions should have problems. It's a PS2 game.
Yeah, and you could say all that you want about the Switch running on a mobile chipset, but it still can run PS2 games. I mean, and that's been proven. It can run PS3 games even. I mean, not that well. It kind of depends on the title, but you're crazy if you think that Nocturne shouldn't run well on the Switch. It 100% should.
Exactly, and I was arguing with someone the other day saying that Persona 5 couldn't run on Switch. It's a 30 FPS game. It's a PS3 game, goddammit. There's no in hell.
They literally ported it to the PS4. It was didn't they basically just port it to the PS4 because it started development as a PS3 game?
Exactly. Like, there's no way in hell that with the right optimization, this game can't run. I mean,
if you can get The Witcher 3 on Switch, you can get Persona 5.
Exactly. And I watched the Nate the Hate episode, the podcast that he has, and they were talking about how every single Unreal Engine game could run on Switch. But the reason why we don't see games like, let's say, a Final Fantasy remake on the console is that it would require so much time and so much money to port the game to the system, and it wouldn't look as great. It will work, but it would be a very lesser experience for the player, and it would cost so much money that they're not doing it. But they could. So don't tell me that a Persona 5 PS3 game can't run with the right optimization.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, if you don't mind me talking about this for a second.
Oh, no problem.
Recently they released cloud versions. They're going to release a cloud version of Hitman 3, and they've released a cloud version of Control on Switch. You can do these big games. You might even be able to do Call of Duty on Switch. I don't know how many people would play that, but you can do these big games out. There's no excuse. I mean, it's just a matter of, do you want to put the time in? Are you willing to take... I'm not sure how well the cloud service runs.
I've heard that I have heard that Control plays very well with the streaming service. You don't need that much of a good internet connection to play them. So I heard it's really good, and I heard it's very impressive as well on the system because it's through the cloud. So I personally...
I don't... To just go on that. Sir?
I think we had a delay in our call. Like, you heard my phrase afterwards, but no problem. Basically, what I heard is that the games are performing very well because it's like everything's through the cloud, so your system doesn't push the performance of the game.
Oh, definitely. So if anyone says to you that Persona 5 can't run on Switch, if you can run Hitman 3 in Control and The Witcher 3 on Switch, you can definitely run at least vanilla Persona 5.
Well, yeah, definitely. And even then, like, I mean, natively, it could do it. For sure.
Oh, definitely. Now, the problem might be, cartridge space, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But even then, is B5 that big of a game? I don't think so.
It fit on a PS3 Blu-ray disc, so
yeah, it was not a big down. It can happen for sure. But anyways, those people most of the time they don't even know what they're talking. Like a game like Scramble, there's a lot going on the screen, and it's running natively on Switch, so there's definitely more slowdowns than on the PlayStation 4 while playing because there's so many things going on screen at the same time. It's normal. You're slashing through hordes of enemies. They're jumping in the screen and lots of explosions and things like that. It's obviously gonna drop on a Switch. While on PS4, it runs perfectly. It's normal, but the regular P5 where everything is extremely slow, it's 30 FPS, they can make it work for sure.
Oh, definitely. No question. I mean, you might have some hitches every now and then, but it's definitely going to be playable. There's no excuse.
Yeah, and the P5R engine is running perfectly fine on Switch with Catherine full body, so there's no reason why. I mean, the performance of the system is not the reason why we're not having this game on the platform yet.
And I'm not trying to take a shit on anybody that says, you say that like it's easy to port games and everything, but I'm not saying that porting games is easy, but it can be done, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. There's a difference between do they want to port the game or do they can't port the game, basically. Like a Final Fantasy remake, if you look at the conditions that they must met before they port the game versus do they want to do it or not, there's a big gap. I mean, they could do it, but they don't want to do it. It's probably the same thing with Royal or with P5 in general. I'm sure it's going to happen at some point anyways. So again, that's another thing that people are always arguing with me with this, but I'm sure it's going to happen at some point. Definitely. And we're close to that.
Oh, wait, David, I'm going to need you to delete that audio about me promising to do the specialist stance if P4G comes to PS4.
We'll see what I can do. We'll see what I can do. Cool. We answered a bunch of questions. I'm very happy where it's going. We're an hour and a half in. I definitely don't want to go for another hour or anything, but there's still a certain numbers of questions that I want to ask you, that I want to talk about before we wrap things up. First question, and that's an interesting question, and I'm sure you didn't think about it, or maybe you did. When do you think is Atlas going to jump in the bandwagon of next gen? When are they going to release games on next gen?
I really don't think we're going to see anything for, Persona 6 for at least, till like 2022, 2023. I really easily don't see that happening. I can see them maybe porting some games for what anniversary? It's 25th anniversary is coming up.
For SMT?
Or no, for Persona, like a 25th anniversary.
SMT was 2017, and I think Persona is next year. Yeah, I think it's next year.
I can see them doing maybe some ports, but I really don't think we'll see a next-gen Atlas game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Including like Persona 6.
Mm-hmm.
You may see like another Catherine-like project. Catherine was kind of like the buffer to have them dip their feet into the next generation consoles, maybe, but no.
Yeah, I think the Project Free Fantasy is going to be that Catherine game. That Catherine game was for PS3 and 360. The Project Free Fantasy is going to be the replacement for that for this gen, I think. But it's not a game that we're going to see soon. Definitely not. It's probably, like you mentioned, a holiday 2022 or 2023 game. But I feel like this is probably, honestly, and it feels weird to say that because we don't know nothing about this game, I think it's probably the first new release from Atlas that we will see on next gen.
You mean the Project Fantasy?
Yep. From PC.
Yeah, definitely. I within the next 2 or 3 years, I see that and maybe a couple of ports, and
yeah,
I really don't think we're going to get that true next gen experience until way down the line.
Yeah, definitely. So we have the same train of thoughts on that matter. Which system do you think they'll jump in first? PS5 only? They'll keep going with PS4? More Nintendo? More Xbox? More PC?
It's hard to say at this point because Sega has been so weird with their releases lately, especially for Yakuza is really the one. I know Sega's the one who usually makes those decisions about Atlas games releasing on what console, right?
Yep.
All right. Sega has been extremely weird lately with their choice of consoles to me, especially with Yakuza Like a Dragon, because not to say that they owe PlayStation anything, but this Yakuza Like a Dragon is so popular in the States because Yakuza got so popular with Yakuza 0 on the PS4.
Yeah.
And we had every single iteration of Yakuza on the PS4 right now. and you still don't have that on Steam and Xbox. So it's really hard to say what console they're going to put it on, because they've just been so weird lately with choices. So that's just my 2 cents, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I get what you're coming from. Definitely, it makes a lot of sense. Yakuza, though, just to go back to Like a Dragon, I think Microsoft paid for the time exclusivity, that's for sure. And since the game was already going to be released on Xbox and PS5, I think Sony probably didn't want to pay or do some type of deal with Sega, and Microsoft was down to have more Japanese support at launch. They were the one that promoted Yakuza Like a Dragon in their showcases. We didn't see Yakuza in the PS5 showcase. It was in Series X showcases. So it's definitely a deal thing. But I get what you're coming from, definitely on that front. For me personally...
By the way, marketing for Like a Dragon has been excellent.
Yep, definitely. Definitely. It was amazing. It was amazing. Definitely. From day one to the end. I think YouTube's back. I see a lot of messages saying that it's back. It is
Just when
back.
Hey!
It is back. Awesome. Now that we're answering the last final questions. Oh, damn. No problem. Awesome. So, yeah, definitely. It's hard to tell. Microsoft, I think Sony for sure. They're going to support more Sony. Nintendo, they will increase support. Sony's going to stay the same way. Nintendo is they're going to get more support, and PC, they're going to get more support as well. For sure. Yeah, okay, now YouTube's officially back. Awesome.
I see the comments finally coming alive.
Yeah. Awesome. So it is working now once again. Another question that I had for you is, we talked about that really quickly. Which game Axe is going to bring next on next gen first? Probably Re Fantasy. If there was to be a remaster, though, do you have a pick of what they would do next?
I think really Digital Devil Saga is the best place to go from here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or at least 1 and 2 in one package. And I think it would be a smash hit, especially on Switch.
It would do really well. Yeah, hopefully. And I made a video on that, and I do feel like those 2 games are next for SMT at least. Maybe P3 is gonna come to Steam before. But when it comes to SMT, yeah, DDS 1 and 2, it makes sense.
I got a question for you, actually, David.
Of course.
You mind if I ask? Okay, so if and when Persona 5 Scramble comes to the West, do you see it being them releasing it as a PS5 game instead of like on the PS4? Like, do you see it being like a quote-unquote next-gen game?
That's a very good question. To be released directly on PS5, personally, I would say no. And the reason behind that is because they're just gonna do, even with the delays, I think the game's just ready. I think they're just holding onto it for whatever reason. So I don't think they're gonna go back and rework more performance boosts for the PS5, especially since they have to release the game on Switch as well. So no, I don't think they're gonna release a remastered of some kind on PS5. I don't think so. Though when I think we'll see the game, because I still think the game's gonna get a Western release at some point. I have a prediction for that. Next year, actually, I have a very specific prediction for 2021 and Atlas in general, if you don't mind me saying it.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get Nocturne in March. Then I think we'll get Scramble, and before the last financial report, my predictions were Scramble in January or February, Nocturne by the end of March, SMT5 at the beginning of the holidays, like September or October. Now that we got the latest financial report from Koei Tecmo saying that the game is not in their near future plans anymore, my prediction changed. Nocturne stayed the same, obviously. SMT5 is still at the same place as well. But Scramble, I think, is now a summer title. I think it's a June, July title. It's going to take Catron's Full Body's place.
I could really see that as well. So when do you think that they would announce that it's coming? Because obviously they've been radio silent. Do you think they'll do that before the end of this year? or do you think they'll wait till like February, March next year to do it?
That's too much of a big question to ask me. I don't know. I have no clue because they're making zero sense with this release, with this localization from day one until now. So I have no clue when they would announce it though. Someone in the comment sections, I made a video talking about, is there a possibility that we see SMT5 at the Game Awards 2020? Crazy, yeah, I know. But in the comment sections of this video, I got someone telling me, what if they release Scramble? What if they announce the localization for Scramble at the Game Awards? It's a Western show. Joker was revealed first match at the Game Awards, so why not? And I don't know what you think about this, but I was like, yeah, I don't know why. I can't explain why, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I had that exact same thought about the Game Awards, David. I don't know if I've told you that before, but I could totally see that, but at the same time, I don't see it, if that makes sense. With Atlus's marketing lately, it's really a toss-up. I mean, I could see them unveiling it at the Game Awards, which is like in 3 weeks, I believe. I could see them saying Persona 5 Scramble coming 2021. But I could also see them waiting until like March or April to announce anything related to it.
Yep, fair enough. Especially if it's a summer title, like March, like maybe in a direct around March or something like that. It would be interesting. But again, I'm glad that you're on the same camp as me. Like, this game is gonna happen at some point. That is for sure, because it's gonna be a big seller for Atlus. It did extremely well. It was over their expectations that they said. It did over their expectations in Japan that they said. So, I don't know, for all those reasons, it's definitely happening. It's the sequel to their best performing, best selling game. So, oh no, there's really no way that they skip on this opportunity.
As much as I like to make fun of it on Twitter and saying that it doesn't exist and everything, I truly do believe it's coming out. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, if it never came out, I think it will be the biggest miss in company history.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, 100% agreed on that one. I have one last unrelated question that I want to ask you, and then there was still 3 small, cute questions for Xbox that I wanted to ask that we almost forgot.
Bring it on, man.
The first one, and I'll keep going with my unrelated question, but it was, which older Atlus game would you like to see remade for next gen the most? And I allow you to do some type of small collection if it's not too crazy, like not a Persona 1, 2, 3, 4 collection or anything crazy like that, but a Persona 1 and 2 collection, for example, or a DDS 1 and 2 collection. It works, so it can be anything.
So are you talking about like complete remakes or just like remasters, ports?
I'm talking about, let's say, a good remaster. Like, they can do a good bunch of good things, but not a remake, not a Final Fantasy remake, but better than a Nocturne port, for say.
I already mentioned Digital Devil Saga. I think that would be a home run. I think if they went back and did the PSP ports of Persona 2 and released it as one package, I think that would be a home run on like Switch and Steam.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be amazing. Good picks for sure. Personally, for me, the one thing that I would like them to do is a Devil Survivor 1 and 2 combo pack, but I want them to add an art style. I have something specific in mind. I want them to change the art style, not in battle, none of the demons, on field, and not during the visual novel sequences either. Just when you see your characters on the field or in battle, I want them to change the models and add another art style, something similar to what they're doing with this Kaya game. This guy, I think that would be sick. And those games, they age very well, extremely well, and they don't need a lot of work for them to look really beautiful on modern systems. Could you imagine being able to just play Devil Survivor 1 and 2 on the go anywhere?
Oh man, that's a dream.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And you know what, with the success of Persona, and I don't like necessarily to say it, but let's be honest, the characters and, you know, the links between your characters and things like that in Devil Survivor 1 and 2, it is kind of close to Persona. At least it is definitely one of the closest to Persona that other SMT titles other than Persona got, if that makes sense. Like, it is closer to Persona than Digital Devil Saga, of course. It's clear. It is more different than Nocturne, SMT4. Apocalypse went close though, so I think they would do really well with the success of Persona and things. That would probably be the door of entry for Persona fans into SMT if they were to do this.
So you think that if, Atlas, if you were to put two games side by side to each other, you have the Devil Survivor port for the Switch right here, and you have Digital Devil Saga, and you have someone that's only played Persona come up, and they take a look at your games. Do you think that Devil Survivor would outsell Digital Devil Saga?
Yes, I think it would appeal to a broader audience than Digital Devil Saga would. With the setting that it has and the type of game that it is, I feel like more eyes would be on Devil Survivor than on Digital Devil Saga. I'm not saying that I want that more necessarily. I'm just saying that I think it would do better, Devil Survivor, than Saga.
Sir?
Good question. Yeah, Zach, I know that the game's on 3DS, but we're talking a kind of a remaster here, not just a straight up port, so.
And to be fair, the 3DS is a dead console. So
yeah, I still play it. I played Strange Journey just before the stream, but I know that it's not, it's an older system now. Awesome. So I'm going right in with my Xbox questions before we wrap things up here. Will you buy an Xbox Series at some point? Maybe not in the near future, but at some point, would you buy one? And if you are to buy one, what would make you buy one?
So, I want to buy one. It's just financial situation and everything. If I have the money and I saw it on sale, probably. Hey, Spencer just said, breaking news, everyone. I have paid off my PS5 for tomorrow. Congrats, Spencer.
Awesome. Lucky man.
Continue with what I was saying. I would love to have an Xbox, but the thing that they would have to do to really sell me on it, because I do have a pretty tight financial situation right now, they would need to crank out more first-party games. And I'm not just talking about Halo. They need to go all out this generation. I feel like if you want, people who have only bought a PlayStation like me to want to buy the console. Trust me, I really want to have it. I want to play Gears of War. I want to play Halo. But there's nothing new right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's fair enough. Especially if, I would say you don't need an Xbox Series. That's it, right now. If you have a PS5, if you're buying a PS5, oof, I'm going to push what I just said even more. You definitely don't need a Series X. I'm doing it, but I'm a weird exception. You don't need both. Definitely not.
Here's my hot take. Here's my hot take right here. People who are buying a Series X right now, they're basically only buying the console for backwards compatibility. There's nothing to play on there right now. I hate to say that, but there's nothing to play.
I mean, I bought mine yesterday, and I agree. It is that. I mean, what am I going to do once I get the Xbox? If I didn't receive my Yakuza Like a Dragon copy from shitty Pix and Love, I'm gonna buy another one for my Xbox, and I'm gonna play it there. But other than that, I'm going to play Forza. That's the first thing that I want to play. And then I'm going to play Oblivion. I don't have an Xbox 360 and I would like to play this game. I'm going to play it there. That's the thing. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct.
And by the way, that Yakuza Special Edition that you got, just to go off on that right quick, I'm really glad I didn't pre-order that, and that was my only pre-order of the game. So, because didn't they delay it at the last second?
They delayed it at the last second for 1 month. I got that edition, so I don't have my game, and honestly, being transparent, I emailed them once they announced that to cancel it because I'm a big fan. I wanted my copy day one, and they never responded. So I don't even know if I'm gonna get a refund. So I decided to hold on to the game and wait. If they decide to refund me, great. I'm just going to buy right away as soon as they confirm it to me, the Xbox One version. And if they never respond to me, which I think is what's gonna end up happening because it's been a week already and I got no answer. I'm just gonna get that PS4 version once I receive it during Christmas, and I'm gonna buy another copy on Xbox to play it on Series X.
So I don't know how big that company is. I know they're based in Europe and everything, but I've heard things about their customer service that wasn't good from the get-go, and I was glad I was very wary of that. I mean, it just seems like so sort of out of left field that this little company is making this special edition for this game, and it's people were tweeting to them, asking them questions: "Is it going to ship day one? Am I going to have it?" They never responded. Oh, yeah. As much as I would love to have that, Best Buy did a deal here in the States. I'm not sure if they did the same in Canada. We got a free second Steelbook with our purchase. To me, that's worth it to me.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I heard some things as well about the publisher that it was meh, but it looks so great that I just decided to buy it either way. Unfortunately, those worries that I had were correct. They're not responding now, and they delayed it last minute, probably to make sure that we didn't cancel the pre-order now that they took the money. Okay, I'm not going to complain too much. I mean, it's too late now, and I'll know better the next time, but it's definitely not a great situation. I want to talk about what Jamar in the chat just said. He says, we'll talk to Xbox when they get some SMT or Persona or anything good. And that is a very good point. And that it brings me to my next point that I wanted to talk about. That's a good transition here. What if Microsoft buys Sega?
I would cry.
You don't have a choice now. You have to have one.
I don't... I think I would cry.
What if they keep Yakuza? What if they keep Sakura Roy's? What if they keep
I really,
Atlas on Xbox and PC exclusive? What if SMP5 is the last Atlas game on Switch?
oh man, you're hurting my soul right here.
Anything is possible if it happens.
Listen, after the year we've had in 2020, yes, anything's possible right now. But I think Sega's too big of a company for Microsoft just to buy. I think Sega, especially with the release of going back to P4G on Steam, I think they see the value in multi-platform releases, which I don't know why they didn't before. I mean, put your best-selling game to other systems, people are going to buy more. Big shocker there, but...
Yeah, nothing surprising there, for sure. I mean, I don't think it's likely, but I feel like a lot of people... Sega's a big player. And while they don't necessarily have the biggest numbers, the fans of their IPs... Like, let's say the Yakuza fans or the SMT Persona fans, they're invested in the series. And if their series were to quit their personal console, whether it's the PlayStation or Nintendo, I'm sure a lot of them would either buy a second console or completely change platform for it. If I were not lucky enough to be able to buy both systems, I sure as hell would sell my PS5 to buy in a Series X if Microsoft buys Sega and they straight up don't release anything anywhere else, which I doubt that they will do, but if they did it that way, I would definitely switch hardware.
I will say this about that. I would probably keep my PS5 because I know you don't play a lot of the first-party games that releases on PlayStation. I do. However, if it switched, I would probably end up buying an Xbox. And something interesting I saw come up within the last few days is that Microsoft is really making a push to buy out more Japanese developers.
Phil Spencer denied that today, actually.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
He said that was not accurate. But yeah, I saw what you're talking about. But let's say for discussion purposes that was the case. What were you about to say? Let's say that was the case.
Nothing, man. Nothing.
Okay, then. Okay, well, hey, that was my last question that I wanted to ask you. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask before we wrap things up? It's been a great talk, though.
Do you feel that maybe at any point Microsoft would buy Sega? Like, your honest opinion on that. Like, how would the industry change if that were to happen? I know I see some comments in the chat right now saying, Sega ain't that big, but let's be real.
Well, Musteko's not wrong. They're not that, again, they're not that big financially, but they own some very important IPs and they have lots of fans that are invested in the Sega brand. So yes, they're not as big as other developers at the moment, but they are still worth a lot of money.
After seeing the all the attention Microsoft has been giving Yakuza in the past few months and everything, all the marketing that they've been doing, it's been spectacular. And then seeing Atlas not even promote 13 Sentinels hardly. Honestly, I think it would be a good move for if they do decide marketing wise and money wise,
Yeah,
Microsoft would promote them better than anybody in the world, I feel like.
for
So,
sure. For me, a dream would be for Nintendo to buy Sega, but that's not happening. I feel like to come back to your question, though, I feel like it's gonna happen. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Well, I don't think it's gonna happen in the next few years. In deeper future, if it is, if their financial situation doesn't get better, which I think it will get better, and I'm talking about Sega here, I think that like that's gonna go. That it might happen at some point in 6-7 years if they're still struggling like they are right now, and their big IPs like Yakuza and Persona don't blow up as much as I think it will. I feel like it might happen at some point, but for now I think Sega is. It's crazy to say that with the recent the financial reports that we got, but I think they own most of their big IPs are doing really well at the moment, and if they keep this trend going, it's gonna go well.
I'm really hoping for a off topic, but I'm really hoping that Sega does a Yakuza like Zero sequel at some point. I would absolutely adore that.
For sure. Hey, what's up to Krellcast in the comment section as well? Thank you for being here, man. We're actually wrapping things up though, but thanks for doing great. Thanks for being here. So yeah, we're ready to wrap things up. Thank you so much for coming to the stream, and I really appreciate it. That was a very fun talk, even with the whole YouTube shutting down problem.
Yeah, I really wish it would have stayed up. I think everyone will be able to watch this on demand now, which is great because you've been recording it. But the comment section really went dead for a while, and but we had a good conversation overall. I feel like so it was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
It was very fun. Thanks for being here, and I would like to have you on again at some point. Definitely, it was a good time, and I would like to talk to you more in the future.
Sounds good to me, David. Anytime, man.
Awesome. So everyone, we're like over 10 viewers now, and we're wrapping things up. So I'm sure a lot of you are here now that YouTube is back up. I will re-upload the podcast for sure. If it is not uploaded directly like it is normally by YouTube, I will do the job and I will upload it for sure, because it's been a great talk and I think that you guys will like it. So thank you all so much, everyone who stayed with us for a good 2 hours already. It was a blast, and we will see you in the next episode.
And by the way, good luck in securing your PS5 tomorrow, David.
Thank you so much. We'll do everything that I can.
I'll try to help you at work, man.
I appreciate it.